Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
What's up, everybody? I'm Dylan Bartlett, and I have a passion for small business. You're hearing it here first. So we're talking to business owners to find out how they got started and what keeps them driven to succeed. This is In Your Business.
Hope we can use that for something.
Color grading, videos, sounds like science, gang. Yeah, please use all of these. We have to switch sides. We can fix all of this in the editing. I'm kidding. He likes it when I make fun of him like that. He makes fun of me all the time.
Here's the deal. You're a yoga guy. I find you to be extremely zen, right? I really do, right? And then I've been into the gym and a variety of different ways of like exercising and working out my whole life for the most part. And they're always there's always an element of testosterone involved. So you go to the gym. I remember one of my first experiences going to the gym. I was just like a kid, I was probably 19 or something like that. And I had always worked out in high school and stuff. And then this was one of the first times I was like a big box store type gym, And there's a lot of testosterone in there, and I'm not a big fan of that. So for you, on the opposite side of the spectrum, because what you do requires an element of a soft touch for sure. Mm-hmm. And I find being in your class to be, at the core of it, I'm going to the gym for more mental health than I am for physical health, right? And we talked about this before, that yoga has become a bigger part of my mental health, than I even anticipated that it would. Yeah. So how do you get into what you're doing, and where does that passion come from to have kind of a softer, gentler approach to fitness, but also have just a really good positive attitude? Where does that come from for you?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. At the outset, the way I got into this, the way I came to this practice was being consistently out of balance.
Okay.
Life, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you don't mean physically falling down the street.
Well, that's true. But just like that observation you make at that gym, there's an imbalance somewhere in the body. Not to condone condemn some of those people. I mean, what they're doing is fantastic, but if it's more aesthetic lifting instead of functional lifting, then my question is why?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's usually a product of our society. For me,
because a lot of people do do it for vanity reasons.
Of course,
you know what I mean, right? Which again, there's nothing wrong with that if you're getting fit, I guess. But a lot of people that I know would prefer to be strong and be able to do things as opposed to being looking like you can do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm always trying to find optimization of my body and mind. So can I be strong, but can I also be flexible?
Yeah.
Right. I always make the joke about the silverback gorilla male at the gym that can't turn their head, right?
Yeah.
They're terrible at playing a game of tag. I can lift a decent amount, but I can also put my palms flat on the floor with my legs straight, right? So finding that, but
very flexible.
Fairly flexible. But there's a lot of vanity in the yoga world right now too, and I'm trying to help kind of steer us away from that. And yes, yoga is essentially and can be very soft approach to physical exercise and maintaining the optimization of the body through strength and stretch and healthy tissues, but it's also struggle. I mean, that's a thing. If you come even to a gentle class, but as you work your way into some of the more intense stuff for body performance, like you said, it's a mental thing. Yeah. We can hold a pose for a really long time. We can do some pretty incredible bodyweight exercises and everything from handstands to weird contortion pretzel-like postures.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's not about beating the body. It's about having a relationship that's healthy and balanced with the body. The body always wants to find a state of homeostasis. The mind always wants to find a state of equilibrium. The practice of yoga, physical yoga and meditation is all about encouraging that, helping it along.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to In Your Business. Today we're hanging out with Eric from Shakti Rhythm. Eric, tell these folks about your business, man.
Oh, wow. I have slowly grown this fun and fabulous business of mine over almost 8 years now in Kincardine for the most part. And it's been a long journey, but the community's been amazing.
Let's talk about that for a sec, because like you've been around, right? You've traveled around and you've checked out yoga and how it functions in other cultures.
Absolutely.
So when was your so before you go to India and you experience all that stuff, what was your aha moment? Like what made you think, okay, I wanna have yoga be in my life as far as physically doing yoga, but then what makes you think, okay, now I want to share this with other people and want to teach it?
Yeah, for sure. And that's, that point of wanting to share is a really, really big realization, because it's the first question I have is who am I to do this? Who am I to actually offer?
Sure.
Do I have something to offer?
Yeah.
So I try to come at it with a sense of humility, which I think is healthy, but you can be maybe perhaps a little too humble in the fact that you never get out the door.
Yeah.
So my experience and my journey is just tried and true. What has worked for me and has changed my life so drastically, and what I've been able to see in other people's, and why it's lasted so long.
So how long for you? When was the first time that you went to a yoga class?
I was 14 years old.
Okay, wow. So from way back.
Yeah, from way back. In the original...
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool.
Yeah, right? Because it's cool now.
Before
it was cool, you were doing it, yeah.
Totally. And I'd always found an interest in things like meditation, so I started meditating quite naively when I was 13, but I was so inflexible, my body hurt and I couldn't sit still. My brain was just pinging off the sides of my skull everywhere. Yeah. And so the idea was okay, well, maybe yoga would help. Yeah. And I went to my first yoga class. My lovely mother actually brought me with her, and we had a great time. And the rest is history. And then I did my first training. I guess I completed that in February of 2011. And I actually wasn't sure that I wanted to teach, but it was something I know I needed to do.
Yeah.
What I've always known on the bigger than that was that I've always wanted to help people.
Yeah.
But it was trying to find the medium, try to find how.
Yeah. And helping people is a relative term too. Because I don't want to help you say move. You know what I mean? Right? I don't I'll do that right? Too. I don't want I'm not out here thinking, man, I just want more people to have an easier time moving, and I want to help them with that, right? So let's talk about because you've been pretty open with this with me a bunch of times about just how busy your mind kind of was and how sometimes it still can be. But a lot of people think of yoga and they think of, downward dog, LOL, that's what I know about yoga, right? Yeah. But there's such a huge mental, I don't know, it's almost hard to describe what it does to your mind and how it kind of calms your mind. So let's talk about that for a second. What does it do for you? Because you have, I think, like me, maybe, kind of ADD, right? Your mind is a bit of a hamster on a wheel. Yeah. So how, were you that young, when you started to feel how it was kind of calming your mind?
Absolutely, because I had a really hard time in school. I was
just focusing.
Yeah, just focusing. Yeah. My eyes were out any window outside.
For sure.
I want to be up there.
Yeah.
And I could complete tasks. I was just a little bit more of a hands-on learner, and unfortunately, we have to get so many people through the school systems that they it's molded. It's better than it used to be, but it's molded to try and get as many people in as possible, and I just learn differently. Yeah. And I also have a hard time sitting still. What young boy or teenage boy doesn't? Yeah. So it was just kind of a fun journey to discover this and go, okay, now I'm going to try and go conquer it, because I didn't like it. I didn't like not being able to sit. Yeah. I didn't like having fears. I didn't like my mind essentially running me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does.
So I wanted to kind of just dive in and discover, because there's this whole universe inside.
So how does that transition happen? Because a lot of people, I think probably even me included to some degree, don't fully understand how say meditation happens, right? So how do you get to a place where you're 14 and you got this busy mind, right? And then how do you get to a place where you can, and listen, don't say practice, because I know, I guess I get it, right? But there's more to it than that, right? How do you get to this place now where you can quiet your mind and kind of I guess focus more on each individual thought as opposed to kind of the big picture stuff?
In essence, it's taking a step back, because when we're usually lost in a problem, we bring it right up to here. But if you were to take it back, or if you were to turn the microscope, magnify it forward or magnify it back, you're able to see it on a different level. So I essentially try to disassociate myself with what's causing pain or an emotional reaction or agitation, and just look at it in the bigger picture. Why? I find nature has a lot of great answers, but and I know I'm answering the question the way you didn't want me to, but discipline equals freedom, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So there's that, but I think more importantly than that is a curiosity of your own existence. And we get so busy in a, this is mine, and this is my schedule, and this is what I have to do, and we put so much on our plate that we're not even, it's like when you see someone at a buffet, and they've got stuff rolling off the sides of their plate.
Yeah.
And they're swallowing it more than chewing it, and they actually eat more than they can. They fill up to this point, right? We're doing that on a societal level.
Yeah.
So meditation is just taking one little bit at a time and enjoying the miracle that's there. But most people, when they think of meditation, they think of it as this drudgery, as this mundane practice where you have to sit and I'm trying to not think. And I think that's bullshit. I have a great teacher, Lauren Roche, and he says that meditation should be a love affair with your own life. It should be absolutely enjoyable. If you're not enjoying your meditation, then you need to find a new meditation. But there are an infinite amount of doorways into your own mind. If you love listening to music, right? Yeah. If you want to put Dark Side of the Moon on, turn all the lights off and just lay on the floor, that's meditation. You're getting lost in the magic of this life. Yeah. And I think that we've separated that because the seated meditation and the not thinking is so old school, and it was originally intended for monastics, which we're not monastics, right? No. If you've dedicated your life to finding enlightenment, that's fantastic.
I'll Google that later.
Yeah, but exactly. Ask Jeeves.
I was going to say,
that guy might know. Yeah. But essentially, they didn't have to, they have no mortgages, they have no money, they have to not even worry about food. The community would support these people.
Fantastic.
It sounds fantastic. And who knows, it could be even easier than what you and I are trying to do, where we're trying to find this harmony and unison in our lives, but while paying the bills and having children and having a car and getting cut off in traffic.
Yeah, totally. Because I think you're right. Like a big part of why yoga has helped me mentally is because it helps me find just a little bit of quiet.
Yes.
Right? Because it is so busy. Life is so busy. Like today is a perfect example of kind of a hectic day. You know what I mean? I know we both had kind of crazy days today. So it's nice to find like just that little bit of time where you can just be still. So what does a typical day look like for you? You obviously offer a variety of services in your business. So like what's the easiest, fastest, like least stressful way for someone to come and like meet you and get a feel for what you're all about? Like let's talk about like some of the services you offer and some of the classes that you do and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. So starting next month, we open up our doors for a new studio.
Very exciting.
Expansion. Yeah, it's been
911 Queen Street in Kincardine.
911, hard to
That's
forget,
it.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hard to forget.
Yeah.
We do share a building with a number of other awesome businesses. We're just around back on the south end of the building. But what we're going to offer is a couple of very variable options for you to be a part of the studio. So you can be a membership member, or you can come in to do drop-ins. You can have punch cards, all the sorts of things. And we're going to run, quite a few classes.
Yes, many classes.
So many classes a week.
So like, is there like entry level, like kind of a basic?
Sure. So I mean, the easiest way,
like yoga for dummies.
Yoga for dummies. Well, what I do is over the years, my specialty has been able to teach multiple classes at once.
Within a class.
Within a class, right?
Yes.
Because you get
it's like classception.
A classception.
Yes, classes within classes.
Ooh. Am I going to tip back in my chair now? Where's the game?
Yeah.
So gentle is the best way to start.
Yeah.
That's where most people need to start, because gentle doesn't sound hard, but it can still be challenging.
Totally. And the one thing I think that I didn't think I expected when we started like kind of doing this together, and then when you're actually physically in the class, like of course out the gate it's like, okay, I've never done yoga before, I don't really know what to expect here. Again, most people know that we're going to stretch, right, to a degree. But I love how you, like, for each individual move in class in real time, you're going like, okay, if that's super easy for you, then here's a step up. And if that's still not challenging enough for you, here's like there's probably 2 to 4 variations of almost every move that you do in a class, right? And you kind of let people pick their own.
Totally.
And they can kind of land wherever they want. So even if you're in a class with people who are, I hate the way this is about to sound, but better at yoga than
Yeah.
you, right? If that's the benchmark, right? It's like they're more flexible than you or whatever, right? Then yeah, you can still kind of like choose your own and still kind of follow along, which I think is really cool. So is that normal?
I think so. I mean, it depends. There are so
See, I don't think it's normal.
Well, there's so many yoga teachers out there, and there are so many types of yoga.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, the trainings can be less than subpar.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, I wish I could go back and take one of my first classes I ever taught. I'd probably laugh through the whole thing myself, right? But it takes time, that experience to be better and just build and build and build and do more and more trainings. I mean, that's one thing that I always try to strive for, is to be more useful to people. So I'm always doing trainings. I'm always trying to read, study, whatever.
Continuing education for you.
Absolutely,
always.
you have to, right? Any good, teacher is a student themselves. You have to be a student first.
Yeah, very cool.
So, what I'm trying to offer is not necessarily, this is the ultimate truth, or this is, it's a philosophy that works for me.
Yeah.
And it's experiences. I can't take anybody further than I've gone myself.
Yeah. You get like a couple years into this, and then you find yourself in India.
Yeah.
Right?
Why not?
Why not, man? So is India the definitive birthplace of yoga?
The region is, yeah. It's supposedly yoga originates from the Indus Valley, and the scholars say anywhere from 8,000 years ago to 20,000 years ago of some form of fashion, right?
It's a lot of years, man.
Yeah, we get back into those.
Canada's
timelines.
like what, 152?
Yeah.
Or maybe even one. I can't remember.
But
so how does that happen then? Like what takes you from, because you grew up here?
Yes.
So you grew up in Kincardine, and then like that's got to be culture shock. Like what's that like?
Oh, it's an assault in the senses.
Yeah, right. So all of a sudden you're in India.
Yeah, and I was in rural India, which was a fascinating place, right on the coastline, right at the very bottom, right at the bottom tip of India.
And you were there like for yoga training.
I was there for full training, 40 days.
Yeah, cool.
7 days a week. It's a wild experience. So that's where I did my advanced training with some great teachers, but the teachers were from America. They were from teachers that I had known from my first training.
Yeah.
Yoga over there is very different. Again, there's a lot of different schools. There's a lot of different facets. And I took some stuff there, but one thing that I would say, and again, this is a generalization, I haven't taken all the yoga classes from all the yoga teachers in India, but the ones that I had taken were lacking a little bit in alignment cues, and they were lacking in some safety.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, you take a look at the body, anatomically speaking, and someone from that region in the world, their bodies look quite a bit different from an Anglo-Saxon body, or an Eastern European body, or even South American body. That's why we get to celebrate the diversity of the human being and creature. So it was great to see, and the cities were wild, but absolutely.
A lot of people who go there and experience that culture, especially if they're like into yoga and stuff like that, find it to be quite zen. You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
Right? So like, did you have like, for lack of better words, like a spiritual feeling about being there? Like, was there an element of like the history of it all, and the concept of yoga kind of originating there? Like, did that hit you while you were there?
Yeah, I mean, you can't help it but do that. I mean, it's akin to going to some of the oldest parts in Europe, or I was fortunate enough to visit some of the Mayan temples in the coastline of Mexico. Absolutely incredible. However, there it's not strictly owned and rooted there. It came from there because some of the oldest civilizations come from there, and there's a lot of amazing traditions that are really quite similar to yoga that have been around the world. There's some amazing tribes in Africa that have the same kind of ideologies, and of course Buddhism made its way all the way to China and Japan. But I mean, it was an amazing place to go. They're really incredible people. They're really incredible people, and it's like going to another planet for the sights, the sounds, the way they drive. Every 5 minutes you think you're going to die because you're about to go into a head-on, on collision, or there's an elephant that runs out on the road. Like, it's a real deal. Where I was, but and some of the nicest people in the world, like East Coast Canada level nice.
Oh well, hey, listen, my family's from the East Coast. There you go, wrap in. So let me ask you this then. So you got this yoga thing. You take all this training, and then there's this. You will beat the shit out of someone's body with Thai massage, right?
Yeah.
Right. So how does Thai massage kind of like factor into like what you're doing?
For sure, Thai massage is this direct link.
So is it? Am I correct in calling it? It's a bit rough.
Well, it depends on the intention, right?
Yeah.
It depends on the body. I get a lot of athletes. I get a lot of people who are in pretty damn good shape, but demand a lot of their body. Martial artists. I get firefighters, paramedics, first responders. Love you guys. People of all different ages and sizes and genders. So that's that's the challenging part. Is you really have to be so. It's meditative. It's a 90-minute massage. And the full name is Thai Yoga Massage, and it originates from about 2,600 years ago, and it's an old school style, but you're moving the body into finding its ranges of motion and trying to take care of the muscle tissue and the joints, and then at the same time give an experience for someone to really relax, and that's part of the definitive style. However, if you're having your IT bands massaged, and they're really tight, then it's not very relaxing. So it's up to what the clientele asks for, and then what I interpret that they need, because that's you should be able to do that as a professional. And it is challenging.
How did you get into that?
You know what? That's a unique thing. I have always been told that I'm pretty great at massage, and it was just another way to help people. It was part of that, trying to diversify and be more useful.
Let's talk about the new space, because obviously people are keen, man. This has been a situation for you, right? So you're getting to a place now where you're going to be open soon.
Yes.
Which is super exciting, right?
Yeah.
And this is taking some time for you,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But it's super exciting, right? To have a new space. So maybe just let's talk about man, what have you had to do to get this thing to happen? And and why is it such a kind of a necessary expansion for you?
Yeah, for sure. 8 years ago, I was teaching in people's kitchens. We moved the dining room table away.
Yeah.
I was teaching in the back of cafes and in warehouses. Grass, parks and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to
just
start
selling yoga out of a van.
Yeah, it's just selling yoga out of a van.
Hey man, hey, you want some yoga? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's just it. You got to start small, and that's why I'm very proud of the humble beginnings.
Yeah, and I also think it's cool that from your point of view, you're essentially opening up the bigger space because of a supply and demand issue, which is a huge compliment. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're in a place where it's like you've maintained the integrity of a small class for long enough that now people are having a hard time even getting into a class, right? Which is an awesome problem to have as a business owner,
for
right?
so long, yeah.
So this new space, what can we expect? We open the doors. Yeah. What are we going to see? What's happening in there? Because you guys have completely, it was like a garage.
It was, one of the contractors that I had in, Bradan Construction, they...
Leaf fans, by the way.
Yeah, Leaf fans. They're amazing.
We got to make sure we get that in.
Yes, and the owner, he's from around here. He's a really nice guy. They've done an amazing job, absolutely. The head guy's name is Ben Bray, and he's been working closely with a buddy of mine, Tom Church, who's a local guy, and he said to me, essentially it would have been just as much time and just as much work if we were to build new.
Yeah, for sure.
But between myself and the generous landlord, the owner of the building, I wanted to bring back part of the downtown. That building's been chopped up from being food land essentially. And Nectals before that and Krupp's before that. Everybody who's been around since the 90s knows that. With this new space, we've worked so hard to get in there, floor to ceiling. I've decided to try and do things as environmentally as I can, as well as being cost effective. Yeah. So, local pine trim. We've got some just up the road an ash tree that's been ripped right down the middle. I'm gonna make a live edge tabletop for the entrance desk, things like that. So you walk in, and it just tries to draw you in. Warm, earthy colors, brings you in. You meet me at the front desk, or if someone else is at the front desk. We've got plenty of space for changing and washrooms, and then we've got these nice pine French doors that open up into this, decent sized, humble little studio.
Very cool. And open house on May 5th.
Open house May 5th.
What's the open house about?
So the open house is just a meet and greet for people to come in. Grand opening. We're gonna get some local people down there. Maybe you'll be there if you get time on a Sunday. Who knows?
Yeah.
Come in and see the space. Maybe have a couple of treats and people can check it out. Check the space out. Ask questions. Sign up if they want. Take a look at the schedule as we unveil it.
Very cool.
The schedule will be maybe a little bit more limited, and then as we grow, as interest grows, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
We're gonna fill it. Right now, regular classes are Monday to Friday, and then we'll have special events, workshops, and classes a couple of weekends a month right now, so that I can
that's
still,
exciting.
have a life.
That's exciting though, man. I'm happy for you. Let's learn a little bit about Eric now.
Yeah.
Let's ask you the really important questions. So, are you a morning person?
Yes and no.
Okay, that's actually appropriate, I think.
Yeah,
I have an ongoing theory about morning people being liars.
Yeah,
right?
no, for sure.
Right?
Sure, yeah.
I think you've tricked yourself into thinking that you are a morning person by necessity, right?
Yeah.
Your job or your routine or whatever. But I do not think that people are morning people for real. Like, I think if given the choice, you wouldn't just be a morning person unless you had to be.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the morning does offer up some extraordinary moments and some extraordinary things.
So you go.
Well, hey, have you ever? I mean, we get the best sunsets in the world here.
Oh, for
but
sure.
Have you seen the sunrises here?
Well, I try not to.
Wow, they are. Well, instead, just burn the midnight oil.
Well, I could do that. That would actually be much easier for me than getting up early.
Well, as a teenager, I would see more, sunrises from the other side.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah.
So you're a morning person, at least partly by necessity, because you have so many morning classes.
For sure,
right?
for sure. Nobody loves sleep more than me. I'm also a heavy dreamer, so I have some, I have a lot of fun when I sleep. You know what I mean? Like there's some adventures there, but
let's just talk about that for a sec.
Yeah.
Sleep. How do you sleep? What position do you sleep in?
So I try my best to either sleep on my back,
Okay.
or I sleep on my left side is the better side to sleep on, with a pillow between your legs.
I can't do the side sleep thing.
It takes some practice. Honestly, it takes me a while to fall asleep.
My
when
arm
mind
falls
goes to
asleep.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Right? I have to sleep flat on my back like a corpse.
That's good.
So on a normal day, if you don't have to get up in the morning, what's like your morning routine like?
My morning routine, the attempt at least, is to get up and fuel my, brush my teeth, scrape my tongue, a little tongue scraper.
Yeah.
Great for oral hygiene. And
I love the detail.
the detail.
What else do you?
What else do you?
Tell me everything. Right.
And then I try and have a revitalizing cocktail.
Yeah.
That without alcohol.
Okay.
But if you slept 6 to 8 hours, you're probably really dehydrated. You should be dehydrated. And normally throughout the day, most people don't go more than an hour or two without rehydrating. Right.
Yeah.
So your body is depleted of healthy salts. So I do warm water or hot water, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of local Lazy J ranch honey.
Nice.
Because they're amazing.
Oh, they're amazing.
You gotta have a little sweet.
It's delicious.
And then I try to get myself down to. I have a little yoga room in my house, so I get there to do a little practice.
So this is before you eat anything.
Yeah, as best I can. If I'm really hungry, then I'll have something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to do a little bit of breathing exercise because most of the blood in your body when you're resting, in a resting state, is in your abdomen, protecting your gut, right? And so to turn things on, to get your digestive system moving, to get your brain moving, we need movement.
Yeah.
And whether it's if you want to go and dance, if you want to go have a little workout, sometimes I'm just there doing push-ups and things like that. But for the most part, it's a yoga flow so that my brain's really getting into it as well. And breathing exercises strengthen the lung tissue and that wakes the brain up fast too.
So after you smash all this out and you're awake,
yeah.
Do you like breakfast food?
Love breakfast food. Yeah. All
like,
types of breakfast.
Talking bacon and eggs kind of guy?
If I have time, yes. I'm also a big smoothie guy.
Yes.
Not everybody's a smoothie guy, but or gal.
That's one of the few ways that I can tolerate eating mass amounts of fruit because I'm not a huge fruit eater normally. I'm not the kind of person who will just pick it up and eat it. So if you smash it all into the blender, waz it all up, and then
you can hide a lot of healthy stuff.
You can, man.
I put.
I'm like a child.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Put that in there. Yeah.
There's always leafy greens. Like I just try to go, okay, what is the body really demanding, especially to get the day going? And brain food, right? Like, people, there's certain things that are just great for your brain. A lot of it's, seafood, fish, and stuff like that. Our culture doesn't really do a lot of that. A lot of the Asiatic.
I think that's difficult to chuck into a blender. Do you know what I mean?
There's an old Saturday Night Live skit with the Bass-o-matics 3000. You ever see that one with
I have seen that.
Oh man, that's great bass. Oh.
Yeah, I don't think we don't want to start any kind of salmon smoothies trend or anything like that.
I feel like someone's gonna get sick trying that one. Yeah. So yeah, I try to do a protein base of some kind. And then there's just a whole mix of stuff in there, and it still has to taste good.
Yeah.
But your body's demanding fats, it's demanding calories, it's demanding proteins for you to get going. So that's what I throw in there. I throw a lot of really healthy, natural stuff, and then I hide things like turmeric, anti-inflammatory, great for digestion, matcha green tea powder.
And these are just all ingredients that you have.
Just ingredients.
Yeah,
exactly. There's probably like 20 ingredients in this smoothie. Yeah. So I do that. It's a mix of different things. I love food and I love flavors, so I'm not going to go.
So let me ask you this then. So if it's your last meal, are you a sweet or a savory guy?
Both. That's the problem.
No, you can't do that.
And I just
that's it. No, you can't. You can't just do that.
If it's my last meal.
Your last meal. This is the
life.
Yeah, this is the last thing you're ever going to eat. Are you crushing an entire pie, or are you are you eating a roast beef dinner? You know what I mean? Like what's your last meal dish, sweet or savory?
Right now I'm feeling savory, but that could change moment to moment. But yeah, I'll go with.
I'm a big savory guy.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have seconds of dinner than eat dessert.
Yeah, that's fair. Dessert can be so diverse too. Dessert. I lived in France for a while, so dessert.
Sorry to flex.
Yeah, sorry to flex. But culturally, their desserts are board of cheese and wine, right? Or their opening is sweet port wine before dinner. I mean, tell me everything I need to hear. That's amazing. I'm in.
All right, so we're gonna definitively land on savory then. Is that fair?
Yes.
So what's like a hobby that you have that not a lot of people know about? So after work, when you're not doing yoga and making fish smoothies and drinking wine for dessert and all this stuff. What are you doing? What are you doing that maybe people don't know about you personally?
Oh wow, I have. I love everything. That's my problem. There's so many things in this world. If I make the time for it, I love music and I love being outside. So if I can escape and go hiking and get lost in the woods, that's my jam.
Yeah.
But other than that, I love gardening, especially growing food.
Yeah.
I love being self-reliant.
What are you growing this year? What's your vegetable garden?
This year, the vegetable garden looks a little shabby right now because it's still really early, but also I just haven't had time yet. But my gardens, I try and do a wide diversity of things, and I try to only do heritage heirloom, and I try to do as indigenous to our area as possible, so as many native plants as possible. So, I grow everything from, legumes to asparagus. I've got some rhubarb that'll be ready to harvest shortly. It's awesome.
Very cool.
Throw that in your smoothie. Woo! Yeah, tomatoes. I mean, anything. I've got a couple of perennial plants that come back each year, which is a great way to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything that I can store and save the season, so that I have it in the winter. Bags of
green thumb
and stuff. Green thumb.
I
love it. Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, dude.
Yeah,
this was awesome.
My pleasure.
So, if people want to learn more about you, where do they go?
So Facebook's a great option. Shakti Rhythm, that's SHAKTI, and then I'm going to let you try and spell rhythm because you put the H's wherever you want to. And
I hope you're not asking me because I don't know. That's a word I spell wrong consistently.
Totally.
ShaktiRhythm.com.
That is an amazing website that is nearing its final production thanks to you guys.
Yes,
amazing.
Very cool.
And you can find me there on the website, on Facebook, and you can find me on Instagram, Eric_Cunliffe, and I'll be starting up a Shakti Rhythm Instagram page as well. Shortly.
Very exciting.
I'm getting with the times.
That's
finally.
it.
Getting with the times.
It's 2019. I'm doing it.
Yeah, there's no excuses now.
Well, thanks a lot, dude. Thanks for hanging out. Check us out next week. We'll be talking to another awesome local business owner.